The Dallas Cowboys might be getting ready for life without one of their current key defenders, Jayron Kearse. Why do I say that? We will dive into all of it tonight on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime, but their draft top 30 visits are a little bit interesting at the safety position and more specifically at the role that Jayron Kearse plays within Dan Quinn's defense. So tonight, we'll look into that. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share the stream. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And as always, let your friends know about ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. Let's get started. Here we go. What is up, everybody, and welcome into ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network with a lot more content coming your way. Make sure that you check out adcsports.com/Dallas. And as always, remember that Primetime is brought to you by our friends over at Freeman Mazda.net. We will talk more about them and the ride of the week in a few moments here on the show. But before we do any of that, let's get into Jayron Kearse, because I think that although we as fans look at the NFL draft as this stage of new hope and everlasting hope to be a contender just based on one rookie that makes a difference, or two rookies, or maybe even a loaded draft class like the Cowboys had last year with their rookie class, in which you had day three guys making huge impacts on the team. It's also a time that causes some worry among NFL veterans, especially guys that are on a contract year like Jayron Kearse is for the Cowboys. And I think that Jayron Kearse, in his final year under contract for Dallas, might be in a situation in which the Cowboys are getting ready or trying to get ready for life after him, after the safety. I wanted to touch on this topic because it came up during a conversation with my man Tyler Browning from ADC Sports, our draft analyst, and we were, I might have not mentioned this yet. I have countless times, but I'm going to say it again. We have a tracker going on over at adcsports.com in which you can check out the top 30 visits for the Cowboys, which now include Darnell Washington, by the way, and Drew Sanders. We'll get into that later. Spoiler alert, when we get into the Some Mo news segment. But we were talking about how some of these prospects that the Cowboys are apparently interested in are Jayron Kearse type players. But first, let's get into his situation currently. The fact that he is signed through 2024 and the fact that, this might be one of the most important years for Jayron Kearse on the contract. Wait. The graphic says 2024, right? Because that's not right. I'm sorry. I messed up the graphic. That's why index cards are goated. I could just erase that and rewrite 2023 in it. Jayron Kearse, correction, is signed through 2023. This is the contract year for Jayron Kearse. And then you have Donovan Wilson under a new deal that next year will have him count 3%, towards the salary cap. And it would be pretty difficult to imagine the Cowboys, a franchise that has historically underpaid or undervalued the safety position, to pay not one, but two safeties, right? It was out of character for them to sign Donovan Wilson to that multi-year deal. It would be even weirder for them to sign another safety to a year of that sort, because I would imagine that the numbers would be quite similar if Jayron Kearse keeps playing at this level, and the numbers might be similar to Donovan Wilson. Perhaps the biggest difference factor between the two of them might be time in the league, etc. But I'm assuming that if Jayron Kearse balls out like he has over the last couple of years, you might get in that situation in which he might also demand a 2 to 3 year deal that averages close to $6 million, right? Or a number like that. So the Donovan Wilson deal plus the fact that it is a contract year for Jayron Kearse makes him a player that might be playing for his job in 2023. My question from me to you in the chat is a simple one. Gut feeling, yes or no, is Jayron Kearse on the team in 2024? Let me know in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in to the show. By the way, let me shout out some people here in the YouTube chat. We've got a lot of birthday wishes. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. Tyler, Toxic Tom is also here. Mark, Aaron. Thank you, everybody. Bruce. Oh, man. We're doing this daily now. Markquese Bell says Tommy915. I think I lost the comment here in the chat. Let me see if I can find it again real quickly. Because hey, comments are pouring in. I appreciate you. By the way, do me a favor and hit the like button and share the stream too. But we had a comment somewhere in there about Markquese Bell. Oh, here it is. Tommy915 says Bell will be ready by the time that the Kearse deal is over. And that's where the conversation gets really interesting, because even Bell himself might be getting a lot of competition thrown his way very shortly here heading into next year, because we'll take a look at some of the prospects that the Cowboys are looking at based on their top 30 visits, and we'll talk about why that is a conversation. Thank you to James and John. Let's see here. Bell gets 3 years, and Tolbert people want to trade in year one, says the Reaper. There you go. Yeah, man. Like, and consider the fact that Markquese Bell wasn't drafted. So even though I'm also excited about him, he's still a long shot to make it at the next level. My gut feeling, and let's see some of yours because I kind of lost them here. Katharina said no. There are too many birthday wishes for me to be in my non-birthday. Hey, you better you guys keep this running gag going. I don't mind, but when my birthday does come around, I want to see those legit birthday wishes as well in the chat. The Reaper says yes, he will be a Cowboy in 2024. Gregory also with the yes. Inez Gomez goes with the yes. Tommy goes with the no. The Reaper says Green Dot guy and leader of the defense. He better be here. Mark says he'll be there. Right now, I'm gonna lean no, and not because of Jayron Kearse himself. I think that Jayron Kearse is an absolute stud, but I am not sure. I'm just not sure, because if he balls out at that level once more, and then you have 3 years of consistent play at safety or slash strong safety slash linebacker, whatever you want to call Jayron Kearse, who does a lot of work as the Cowboys' apex defender or nickel defender against tight ends. He will cover tight ends. He will be a playmaker versus a run. He will do a lot of this stuff. You get 3 years out of that, and he might be asking for a lot of money. Relatively, I'm not going to say that he's going to be asking to be one of the highest paid players at the position or anything like that, but it might be a situation in which the Cowboys say, I'm just not going to dedicate 6% of the salary cap space to the safety room. And yes, we can talk about the salary cap being very easily manipulated or not being real, etc. But I'm just going to say, not even because I don't think that Kearse can do the job, obviously, because of a different thing. The fact that he might earn himself some money and the Cowboys might be unwilling to pay him. And the Cowboys, at the very least, are apparently getting ready for that scenario. Because if you look at the recent top 30 visits that have been included here, you'll see a couple of interesting names. You will see, obviously, the Marvion Overshown, who we already discussed on this show previously. He was a safety. He was converted to a linebacker, Texas Longhorn, that can be a perfect fit maybe for Dan Quinn's defense that asks a lot of these versatile defenders who can keep the unit somewhat positionless, right? Somewhat of a modern defense, if you will. The Marvin Overshown might be a day two type of prospect. A lot of people have him mocked in the third round. Maybe he slips into the second round. Maybe he falls a little bit, but he will be somewhere in that middle range. And then, interesting name here, Marte Mapu from Sacramento State. This is a hybrid, versatile player that is also referred to as a linebacker slash safety that the Cowboys could be looking at. And then you have more defensive backs like, for example, Tanner McAllister, who apparently will also be a player that the Cowboys are going to look at according to reports. You can follow this top 30 tracker, by the way, over at adcsports.com/Dallas. Interesting that there are more than one players on the Cowboys top 30 visits that can fit that versatile hybrid mold of defenders, right? I could see the Cowboys targeting this type of player just to have a plan B if they cannot keep Jayron Kearse beyond 2023. Let's see what you guys have to say. Blue Dav says, Mo have a girlfriend yet? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I hate to break it to you, but she's kind of a Steelers fan. And, yep, she is. What I do. Some people call her Mrs. Mo around this show, even though she is not technically the Mrs. yet. Shout out to Tyler Browning, who says, Mo has been studying. I see you with the Apex terminology. Yeah, that I was trying to say nickel, though. I was trying to say nickel, but JT O'Sullivan from the QV school made me call them Apex defenders. Nowadays, I call them Apex. But yeah, I like the terminology because if you say nickel, you're immediately thinking about a nickel cornerback. That's my experience, at least. But if I refer to them as Apex defenders, then you can be a linebacker covering the number 2 receiver from the outside to the inside, or it can be even a safety. So sometimes, especially when discussing the Cowboys defense, it would make a lot of sense to call them Apex as well, right? Because the Cowboys use a lot of big nickel stuff with Jayron Kearse, Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker. Shout out to Tyler there. Let's see here. Toxic Tom says, it's a good problem to have, but having options makes the situation even better. I agree. I agree. Oh, we've got a super chat here on the show. I still have no sound effects for the super chat. I will write that on my to-do list. Oh, isn't this helpful? An index card in which I can write. You guys are going to make fun of me, right? Sound effect. There you go. TC on drums. Thank you for the super chat, the comment, and the donation. I appreciate you, sir. TC on drums has this to say, Mafi and Avila, and we rule several years. Man, give me Antonio Mafi. I want Antonio Mafi on the Cowboys. Just so we can get excited here on the show. Let's see here. Mo, don't feel bad. My wife is a Saints fan. You're already getting this. Hey, we're already getting the couples fan bases out here on the show. We're exposing people. Toxic Tom says, that his wife is a Packers fan. There you go. There you go. Hey, this is true, though. This is true. The Reaper says, at least y'all's wives like football. Mine don't even care about football. Hey, that's been a massive win in my life, getting somebody that loves football. She does, and she knows her stuff, and she loves baseball as well. But anyways, we're not talking about my dating life. I'm sorry to get distracted there. Shout out to Mrs. Mo. Mo picks up his dates on the Mazda ride of the week. That is true. One different car per week, so we can keep it interesting, right? The Reaper says, who would they want to keep here more, Kearse or Hooker? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Let me know in the chat, what do you think? And I'll give you my answer to that. But in the meantime, let's make this one of the featured questions of the show. Who would the Cowboys want to keep more in Dallas? Jayron Kearse, who's essentially this strong safety slash linebacker and can do several things, or Malik Hooker, who is a free safety for the Cowboys? Let me know in the chat what your answer is. And while you give me yours, and before I give you mine, let's talk about our friends over at freemanmazda.net. A family-owned business, has been so for over 65 years, and you can check out their dealership over at Irving, Texas. Otherwise, you can visit their website over at freemanmazda.net, and in it, you can browse through their wide range of new and used vehicles. You can check out the features of every car. You can check out pictures of the inside and outside of the vehicle. And as we do around this time here on Prime Time, it is time to dive into the Freeman Mazda Ride of the Week. This time, we got to talk about the 2023 Mazda CX-5 2.5S Premium All-Wheel Drive. It starts at $33,675, and it's got all-wheel drive, Wi-Fi hotspot, Apple CarPlay / Android Auto, which is a game changer, adaptive cruise control, parking sensors and assist for your comfort, sunroof, and a miles per gallon capacity of 24 when you are in the city. That goes up to 30 when you are in the highway. Make sure that you check out the Freeman Mazda Ride of the Week. And somebody said in the chat earlier today that I pick up my date on the Ride of the Week every time. You could do that. You could do the same. You could do the same. Sign up. All kidding aside, go check out freemanmazda.net. Let's see here. A lot of Hooker responses so far. Who are the Cowboys most likely to want to keep around? Malik Hooker or Jayron Kearse? Ty goes with Malik Hooker. Mark Aaron goes with Hooker. Bruce goes with Malik Hooker as well. Y'all took the chance to make some jokes. The Reaper also is going with Malik. Katharina going with Malik as well. Toxic Tom. Malik Hooker as well. I'm going to go with him too. There are some responses about Kearse here and there scattered throughout the chat, I believe. I'm trying to find one at least. Bruce went with Jayron Kearse. I'm going to go with Malik Hooker, though, just because he's a free safety. I'm thinking, and I have no data-driven evidence for this, but I'm going to go with, even though Tyler is already dropping the joke in there, I'm going to say the opposite, right? Like a free safety is likely harder to replace than a strong safety. Although I will say Jayron Kearse is not really a strong safety. He's this guy that can do a little bit of everything. Sometimes it appeared that he was playing more of a linebacker role for the Cowboys. Even in the run fits and everything, it just felt like he was a linebacker. But I'm guessing that finding a legit free safety with the range that Malik Hooker brings to the table and everything, he might be harder to replace. Malik might be the most underrated player of the Cowboys defense, in my opinion. We talk a lot about Micah, obviously, about Trayvon Diggs. We talk a lot about Daron Bland, even like not even the superstars only. Malik Hooker is just a guy that we don't talk a lot about, but he's that valuable. He just doesn't come to the conversation pretty frequently, and I think that's a positive, because if the Cowboys were getting burned on these deep routes, especially over the middle of the field, I can tell you Malik Hooker would be a wiggly discussion among Cowboys fans. The fact that he isn't is a sign of how good he's been for Dallas, because he's also put in a lot of single high situations. Like the Cowboys are still a team, even though they mixed it up a little bit more in 2023, they're still a team that plays a lot of single high coverages. That means Malik Hooker is playing all alone on that island, the deep zone, right? When the Cowboys play cover one, at least. When it's cover three, obviously there are other deep zones, but I'm saying there's a lot on Malik Hooker's plate, a lot. So I'm gonna go with Malik for that question there. Anyways, oh man, the chat is on fire right now. The chat is on fire. Blue Dab says, "What do you do if your girlfriend is a Steelers fan? You dump her and run until she sees the light. Let's go, Mo. Time to toughen up." You're the Jason Garrett of dating. Oh man, Blue Dabs came at me with that comment. That's why there are Jason Garrett's comments in the chat. I think he's above okay, Gregory. Gregory says, Mo, Malik Hooker is okay, but let's not say that he is great. All right, maybe great is an overstatement, but he's definitely very good. He's definitely very good. Assault. Yeah, that Blue Daps comment came right at me. Very, very low blow, says Toxic Tom. Well, there you go. That's the way it goes sometimes here on the show. All kidding aside, though, nah, it's cool to have that sort of rivalry. I feel, we can go quiet, the two of us. We can go quiet, and then I will say out of nowhere, it's Elliott. Elliott for the touchdown. No flags. Cowboys lead. You guys know that moment. You know what moment I'm referring to here. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on a little bit here on the show. Some Mo news before we get out of here and finish the week, at least for prime time, because as you know, it is Thursday night, so I will be seeing you again on Sunday night. An updated look at the Cowboys' top 30 visits. We have discussed a lot of this. Obviously, I'm not gonna say every single one by name, but I'm gonna add these last few names to the news. Darnell Washington out of Georgia is officially a top 30 visit, according to Nick Edman from DallasCowboys.com. Drew Sanders, the inside linebacker out of Arkansas, and Cameron Latu, the tight end out of Alabama. So 3 big names for Dallas added to the top 30 visits. So if you are into the Darnell Washington conversation, then you should be excited because he's officially a visit. What does it mean? We'll see, because we know that to the Cowboys, these visits matter. A lot of the Cowboys draft picks are out of the list of their top 30 visits. And I will say this, let's keep an eye out on if Dalton Kincaid is a part of the 30 visits, or maybe Michael Mayer. These might not mean anything. The Cowboys might feel like they need to get more info on Washington. They need to talk to him or something like that to figure out if he's worth it or not. But still, I think that if once we learn about the Cowboys' top 30 visits entirely, and there is no Kincaid in there, and there is no Mayer in there, but there's Darnell Washington, that will, at least to me, raise an eyebrow. Who knows? Maybe it means something. Drew Sanders obviously has a lot of fans. Pretty nice linebacker. Seems like you would have to get him early, though, in the draft. Not talking about the first round necessarily, but because he might drop. I think that it's not uncommon for linebackers to drop a little bit more than we would expect. But he would probably have to be either a first-round pick or a second-round pick based on what we've seen from the draft community. Mark Aaron, there you go. Yeah, Sanders is going to get a lot of fans. And it's also quite interesting that he's one of the, with Trenton Simpson, you're starting to see a trend about the Cowboys looking at tight ends, top tight ends in the NFL draft. So at first, I thought that they were kind of being very casual about the need at that position. But now it does seem like they're looking at some of the big names at linebacker for the NFL draft. Other news, and this is just something that I left in the back burner over the last couple of shows, but Ian Rappaport didn't report it. He just shared the opinion that Zeke is likely going to wait until after the NFL draft to sign a deal, obviously, with a team that maybe was looking for a running back in the draft. They missed their shot, and then they end up drafting him. So that makes a lot of sense. I wanted to add it in this last segment of the show. There are not a lot of news other than that. Jerry Jones is going to be inducting DeMarcus Ware into the Hall of Fame. The Cowboys social media accounts shared a heartwarming moment between the two. Kind of, DeMarcus Ware letting Jerry know, completely improvised, quote unquote, that he's going to ask him to induct him. So that's going to be quite the scene, I guess, when the Hall of Fame ceremonies happen. Have you all watched the cornerback Corey Trice? Says Mark Aaron. Corey Trice, I have not watched him personally. I know that he's popping up a lot more as we get closer to the NFL draft. And I saw a very cool tweet out there that says something like, I don't remember who did it. What somebody tweeted, Corey Trice, no games, no gimmicks. Mo, I just hope that we don't get Steve Avila because Tommy915 really wants them. Oh, there's some YouTube chat beef going on now on the YouTube chat. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this will be it for me tonight on this Thursday night. And I will see you all on Sunday, 8 p.m. Central. We're going to get a fun week ahead of us because the draft is nearing and nearing and nearing. And I'm excited about talking about it all with you on the show. So as always, from Sunday through Thursday, I'll see you here at 8 p.m. Central. Thank you to Zach Danis. Thank you for tuning into the show. Thank you to Toxic Tom, Katharina, Mark, Aaron, all of you. Thank you so much for tuning into the show tonight. Inez Gomez. And I know that there are many, many more of you. Do me a favor and hit the like button. Share the stream. Remember that Prime Time is brought to you by our friends over at freemanmazda.net. Nos vemos el domingo. Muchísimas gracias.